Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Disjointed Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
Hello, good sir. How's it going on what I think is Thursday, or so I'm told?
I've been told it is Thursday as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I, of course, am your host, Charlie, and I'm joined once again by the Pliffer Cumner himself, Zealeus.
It's good to see you through the tubes, sir.
Indubitably. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Thursday Night Hangout. This is a weekly live show where we try our best to cover the topics most important to you while with you during the show. If you haven't submitted your topic, question, or opinion, have no fear. All you have to do is drop it in the chat and we will add it to the list of the show. If we unfortunately do run out of time, we will add it to the very beginning of the next week's show. Without further ado, let's jump into it. The first one, of course, has to deal with great news for me. I don't know, Zealeus, have you ever watched Love, Death, and Robots?
I have not.
Netflix?
I know that you're a big fan of it, though.
Oh, it's phenomenal. It's basically a series of shorts that are written and directed by big name directors or authors. Some of the authors that they have are John Scalzi, which we actually talked about last week, which is kind of interesting. Neil Asher and Michael Swanwick. And then, of course, the executive producers. You have David Fincher, who's the director behind Zodiac 7 and Fight Club, just to name a few. And then, of course, the Deadpool director, Tim Miller. And then serving as a supervising director is Jennifer Yu Nelson, who, of course, she's got quite a few titles to her name because she's done a bunch of just stuff. But for me, the quick takeaway is she directed Kung Fu Panda 2 and 3, which I've watched a shit ton.
Is that because that's your own personal treasure or because of your kids?
I'll go with both. How about that? Both?
All right, fair enough.
Both? Okay, so anyways, I don't know if they've actually listed how many episodes this next one's going to have. The first one had like a shit ton of them. The second season had, I think, 9, and this one has 10, or maybe, no, sorry. Second season was 8. This one was 9. I love all of them. They're so cool. Like, some are live action, some are CG, some are more like artistic, and they're all, I don't know, just good. I mean, really good.
Someday I will get around to watching it, but it's pretty far down on my anime list.
Speaking of anime, has anyone seen the new Tekken Bloodlines that just dropped on Netflix?
There's a Tekken Bloodlines new anime on Netflix?
Yes, and I have to say, it looked cool until the end, and I was like, oh, okay. I hate when they're like, oh, we're going to do this cool thing. I'm like, okay, cool. And then it's like, I think it was like 7 episodes long, which, first of all, 7, really weird number. 2, the ending, I'm just kind of like, okay, so, wow, that's it, huh? Yes,
like
I watched I
accidentally
binged all 7 in one day today.
That's impressive.
Thank you. Okay. So, those are the 2 Netflix things I can think of off the top of my head. But since we're talking about Netflix, let's talk about Warner Brothers Discovery and their wonderful revolving, or I guess shutting of doors as they continue to remove titles. Instead of just canning them or shelving them before anyone could see them, they're now they're taking away 37 titles, including 25 of them that are animated from the HBO Max. I don't want to read you the entire list because I'm going to be totally honest with you.
37 titles?
Huh?
You don't want to read 37 titles for fun?
No, I don't. And to be totally honest with you, I don't recognize like most of them, so I'm just going to go short, okay? So Aquaman, King of Atlantis, gone. The one I was really interested in, Infinity Train, which of course, if I were to ever have had HBO Max, that's the one show I would have watched, but I wasn't like, I have to have this. But yeah, the rest of them, I have no idea.
I mean, it's a revolving door of all of the streaming services, basically. It's just content kind of comes and goes.
Yeah, but not this kind of exodus.
I mean, for a while there, Netflix was losing like that many shows every month when they started not renewing the subscriptions.
Yeah, but that was that's every month. And there would be like, I don't think there's 37 shows that Netflix lost, all from the same distributor.
But also sounds like the titles aren't really that big of a deal anyways that they seem to have lost in the first place.
Well, I'm going to be told, looking at these titles, I'm going to guess that a lot of it is kids stuff. I'm assuming.
And now if you want kids shows, just get Disney Plus.
Well, so when asked about it, well, first of all, Disney Plus, they keep rolling out amazing new stuff, so I can't complain. I have not watched. It's owned
by Disney, so it's not going to go away.
I have not watched the new She-Hulk, nor have I watched Obi-Wan, nor have I watched, I think the Groot one started too. There's just so much freaking content. The wife and I are watching Sandman.
You guys haven't finished yet? I'm kind of surprised.
Huh?
I'm kind of surprised y'all haven't finished yet.
Well, I mean, they're long-ass episodes, and we have to watch them after the kiddos go down. So anyways, WB did finally come out and talk about at least the removal of these and said, as we work towards bringing our content catalogs together under one platform, which makes it sound like they're making their own streaming service, we will be making changes to the content offering available on HBO Max and Discovery Plus. That will include the removal of some content from both platforms. 37 shows is some content. Oh. At the same time, we're already starting to bring our content catalogs together, like the launch of the new CNN Originals Hub on Discovery Plus and curated collection of Magnolia Network Magnolia Network content coming soon to HBO Max. Magnolia Network, I think it's like a home improvement thing. So
these all mean nothing to me.
Yeah, I don't.
Unless it's basically Netflix or Amazon Prime, I honestly don't really care. Ooh. I mean, everything's become it's only going to become more fragmented anyways. Like in this case, DC wanting to do their own, and that's because they don't want to profit share. They all want to have their own service where they make all the monies and they don't have to split it or give it out to somebody like HBO. I mean, that's what you've seen across the board for years now.
Right. True.
So we'll, have 20 different streaming services instead of cable.
Well, we're getting, this is kind of like, I guess, the only way we're going to get a la carte. In a way, a
la carte is. I mean, I haven't had cable in a decade.
I don't remember when I got last time I had cable. I just know that my internet bill, which is by the cable company, thanks for that, just got like it slashed in third, and now it's almost back up to 2/3 because they're hiking up the cost of internet.
Of course.
So, but anyways, I don't know. I just the way that WB's been acting as of late has just been like really bizarre.
The WBs?
Just no, WB Warner Brothers. They're canning of at least 2 movies. Now they're removing. I don't know. It just and I guess the sad part is that WB is the driving force behind all the DC Universe stuff, and DC can use all the help it can, and good PR thanks to the Flash.
Well, this is also the last basically year of the DCEU on, I don't know what channel it's on because I just see it Netflix when it comes out. Basically Arrowverse, because they're ending Flash, the TV series, or it already has ended. I don't know which it is.
I think they ended it. I think.
Yeah, I think they ended it. So it's Arrowverse is no more, which I personally love for the last, I think 10 or so years since Arrow first came out.
Right.
And that was really, I'd always, other than like a few movies like the first Wonder Woman or Aquaman, for the most part, the TV series were better than the movies. Although the TV series got pretty trashy in some seasons, for sure. No doubt about that.
And it was on more of a teen angst TV station, though.
Oh, no, 100%. It definitely got very angsty at times. I mean, a number of the episodes, especially like in the Arrow, where the definition of if you just talked to the other person who's like your lover, then we would have basically forgone this entire 40-minute storyline that we just had in this episode, who was hurt by this thing that they thought they saw that wasn't true. If you just used your words, you would have solved a lot of problems. They used that trope way too many times. It got kind of old.
Fine.
But that's how you get the teenage angsty in your TV series. It's lack of communication. I mean, it really is. I mean, that's most, when you get down to it, most teenagey angsty shows, it comes down to terrible communication skills. And that's where they get the drama from.
Of course. Of course. But I've never watched any of the DC shows, so I can't say jack diddly. Though I'm assuming that the Supergirl series was good, maybe?
I didn't watch Supergirl. Having three of them, having Arrow, Flash, and Legends of Tomorrow, that was enough DC in my life.
I just wanted Constantine back.
Well, he was in Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. That was cool that they let him basically jump over to his thing, but I liked his own show.
He's a great actor too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he did great in Legends of Tomorrow. He's a fun character. But he was definitely, as far as acting skills go, he was probably the best actor in the entire DCEU. As far as the TV shows go, he definitely was a great actor and brought a lot to this TV screen.
Yeah.
So, some actors just have that swagger and panache, and he definitely did as John Constantine. Because some people, if they did John Constantine, it would have been like campy, not in a good way, like the bad type of campy.
Well, to be honest with you, most of DC's stuff on the big screen and small screen have been kind of campy. So
yeah, but he did it in a way that actually brought some gravity to it in a good way.
Yeah,
he still had the moments of levity because that's what Legends of Tomorrow was, but he was a phenomenal actor. He was definitely one of the better parts.
Which, by the way, he's still with us. The way that Zealeus is talking, he's like, he's since passed, but...
Well, yeah, John Constantine is somewhere in hell, probably. Let's be honest.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you watch the Keanu Reeves movie, John Constantine is the one person that Satan himself would come up, or Lucifer himself would come up from hell to help escort back down.
So we need is a Lucifer and Constantine crossover is what I'm hearing.
So actually, interesting that you bring up the Lucifer show. Technically, Sandman, the Lucifer and Sandman is in the same universe as Lucifer on the TV show.
Now, Lucifer, I would love to see on that.
Because
yeah.
The other thing is that Constantine also crosses over into Sandman.
Yeah, because Neil Gaiman actually had a voiceover. I don't know if I would call it a cameo.
Mm-hmm.
He did a voiceover in one of the episodes of Lucifer. So that was like the.
Neil Gaiman's
I knew it was
amazing.
Neil Gaiman.
Let's be honest. He's amazing. I can't wait for his other stuff.
No, everything he touches is gold. I think you said it last week, where he's one of the few creative artists that can both write really phenomenal books and do great screenplays and do like the actual TV. You see a episode was written by him, you're like, sweet. And that just, not many people can do that.
Well, I mean, he also, I mean, could this have been early 90s or early 2000s? There was a BBC TV show called Neverwhere, which was a miniseries, phenomenal. Loved it. He's the guy behind Coraline. He's the guy behind Stardust, which is a great movie as well.
And he also wrote some episodes for Doctor Who.
Yeah. And he's still got at least two more big projects coming out. The Anansi Brothers, which I think Amazon got a hold of. And then I want to say the Graveyard Book is at least in like the planning stages. And if you, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any time, I highly recommend that you actually look up the story behind the Graveyard Book. I think it's called Graveyard Book. I think it's because he actually wrote it at different parts of his life.
Yeah, he has a book, The Graveyard Book.
Yeah, I know he's got a book. The movie is, I think it's a movie, or maybe it's a series. I don't know. No, I think it's a movie. He wrote that book was written over a long ass time because he didn't feel that he was at the right place in his life in order to have enough experience to correctly write that portion of the book. Yeah, basically the Graveyard Book is the story of a boy whose parents are killed and who is adopted by the occupants of a graveyard and raised by them. And it's a really good story.
He's got a lot of books.
Yes, he has a lot of books, and they're all phenomenal.
Only read 2 of them. American Gods and something else that I'm having a blank on.
I did the Norse Gods, American Gods, the Graveyard Book, the Anansi Brothers, and I'm sure some other ones as well. I'm sure there's a ton of people who are tuned in right now that are huge gaming fans as well. I'd be very interested to see, ladies and gentlemen, if you have the ability to put it in the chat, what your thoughts on Sandman, without giving away too many spoilers.
No spoilers, sir.
Because Zealeus will eventually get around to it.
It's on my list. It's there. It's waiting.
Zealeus's list is an enigma in itself.
Well, it's a combination between video games and actually watching TV, and having to choose between the two. It's a difficult decision in life sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, speaking of authors that have a ton of titles or recognizable titles underneath their belt, let's talk about the fact that the rights to the films, games, merchandise, and theme parks based on J.R.R. Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, and The Hobbit have now changed hands, and they are now owned by the Embracer Group, an acquisition-hungry Swedish gaming conglomerate. They've been snatching things up left and right. They've snatched up limited run games, which the publisher of physical editions of games, Tripwire Interactive, which is actually here in Atlanta, Georgia, by the way, just in case you wonder where we're broadcasting from. Tripwire Interactive, the developer behind the game series The Killing Floor. Singtrix, which is the company that creates vocal effects technology for karaoke and gaming. Tuxedo Labs, which is the developer of the game called Teardown. And apparently there's a 6th acquisition that is still yet to be named. But with this acquisition, there are several caveats. The first is the publishing rights to the books themselves were not included in this deal. They are still remain with the Tolkien estate and the publisher Harper Collins. The other books, I can never pronounce this one. Yep, that one, and the Unfinished Tales of Numenor and Middle Earth. Those are still also Tolkien estate and Harper Collins. However, Embracer Group has come out and said that they own the matching rights to this thing, which basically means that they have the right to match any offer the owners may get from elsewhere. So if some other company comes in and goes, "Hey, I want to do something, some publishing of the Lord of the Rings, and here's $50 million," Embracer could be like, "We'll give you $51 million, and we get it."
So what does that do for the TV rights? Because obviously you have Lord of the Rings coming out on Netflix.
Aha. So TV rights are another exclusion.
Okay.
The rights to produce a TV series longer than 8 episodes was a deal that was made between the Tolkien estate back in the 1970s. So Amazon bought those rights in 2017. So they're still good. However, they have once again, I mean, Embracers once again already come out and said, well, that's correct. However, we are like financial backers in a lot of the upcoming stuff as well. So
I don't know if it's anything with the video games, because obviously you have like Lotro, Lord of the Rings Online, which has been out for a decade, I think.
That's Turbine.
Yeah, and then just a plethora of other games.
And then there's another Lord of the Rings Online, or Lord of the Rings MMO or something like that. I'm not sure. Like,
I thought it was all the same Lotro.
No, it's not.
Oh,
it's 2 separate things.
I did not know that.
Yeah. They've also, here's the other thing. They also bought the tabletop game publisher Asmodee, which has been making Lord of the Rings licensed titles for decades. So I'm not like what they've done is crazy. They also now own Dark Horse Comics and Square Enix's Western Gaming Studio, which means that they also have rights to Tomb Raider. Which I don't know what that means for the movie rights for Tomb Raider. But
I really like the reboot from Tomb Raider.
Oh, so do I.
It was good.
I like the reboot of the game Tomb Raider, and I also like the Tomb Raider movie that came out.
The whole trilogy was really good.
Yes. But man, these guys have been active as hell.
They want it all.
Well, the surprise was that a lot of people thought Amazon was going to be was going to win this entire deal. And then this Swedish company comes out of nowhere. They haven't actually listed the amount, but it's got to be astronomical.
Well, I was wondering, because Tolkien Estate's always been very reluctant to give up the rights.
Okay, so this deal isn't actually with Tolkien. This deal is with another company, a middleman company who actually had all of these game rights previous to Embracer. Just to make it even more complicated for you.
It's a wonderful world of who owns what nowadays.
Yes. It's either Amazon, Microsoft, Sony,
Disney,
Tencent, and now apparently Embracer Group at the route they're going. And of course, Ubisoft. Ubisoft's got a shit ton of studios underneath them too. Speaking of Nintendo, Nintendo is unfortunately in the news for a bad reason, and that is because they have a bunch of sexual harassment lawsuits that have just cropped up. Or allegations, I should say. Apparently, one of the examples is they're in one of the, I think, Microsoft team chat rooms, which usually they're, light and funny and, oh, that's cute, have became very sexualized, and a lot of people did not feel safe in that environment anymore.
Yeah, it's probably not a good idea.
Yes. But that brings us to the next story, which has nothing to do with video games, but I still have to bring it up, and that is that for those out there who may know of something called the NFL, there is a certain player who's been in the crosshairs since summer, and that individual's name is Deshaun Watson. And Deshaun Watson had 24 sexual misconduct suits, all with involving massage parlors. And of course, he settled almost every single one of them. A judge that was chosen by the NFL gave him a 6-game suspension. The NFL then appealed that to lengthen that extension or that suspension, I should say. And it has finally come out with the results, and that is 11-game suspension with a $5 million fine to be paid. Now, to be clear, that $5 million fine, just a little FYI, he had a signing bonus when he signed with the Cleveland Browns this summer of almost $45 million. So that $5 million fine is not going to hurt him. If you are a sexual predator, you should be kicked the fuck out of whatever place you are. And
no, I totally agree. I mean, you even had the original documents from the original judge who gave 6 games.
Yep.
It made it very clear that what he was doing was not right.
Yeah.
Yet somehow it was at 6 games. I mean, the crazy thing about this is basically the large majority of fans are like, wow, this is crazy. It's only 11 games.
Yep.
All the NFL really had to do was push for a year-long ban. And even if, let's just say, in arbitration, because that happens, it gets reduced to 11 or 12 games, the NFL could still be like, well, we tried. So at least from a PR perspective, like, the NFL totally screwed this up, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Because they could have easily just pushed for the year-long or indefinite, and if it got reduced, they can wash their hands of it, basically. But instead, by agreeing, because it was the agreement between the NFL and Deshaun Watson, now the NFL is basically saying, yeah, basically 24 suits is basically equals 11 games. So you're better off, really, sexually harassing 24 massage parlors than you are smoking weed. It was basically
or betting $150 on one game.
Yeah, it's pretty damn crazy. And the thing that gets me too is the precedent of previous NFL players who weren't even found guilty, same kind of situation where their allegations of sexual misconduct would get like 6 or 4 games for like one allegation.
Yeah. I think the thought was that it was going to be the rumor early on was that it was going to be 3 games per allegation.
Well, that was never going to happen.
Yeah, I know that was never going to happen. That would have been 2 carry your 1, 72 games. The season is 17 games long now, but still. But you know what? To be honest with you, I'd be totally down for 72 game suspension. Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's the situation where, I think we all know where any job you're in, unless you're the CEO of EA, you would be fired tomorrow for anything like this happening, and probably go to jail for that matter.
No, not CEO of EA, CEO of Activision.
Sorry, Activision. Yes, we would all be fired for that, and rightfully so. By the way, obviously creating an unwelcome and unsafe workplace. You think about it, like you have all these video game companies who have allegations of sexual misconduct, and they're all coming out and be like, we're doing X, Y, and Z to try to mitigate and resolve these issues. Whereas the NFL is basically like, they want to just sweep it under the rug. Yep. I think we all acknowledge. And you have certain teams in the NFL, like the Commanders, who are known to have a CEO of the team who creates a unsafe workplace, and yet he's still in the job and nothing happens to him. The NFL, and really more sports leagues for that matter, are the very definition of if you have the money, because you're an owner, and if you have the talent, you'll stay in the league. If this was a, person on the fringes of making the team, he would have been cut tomorrow.
Let's also point out that this wasn't actually a suspension, but to show societal issues and making a statement, another individual who never sexually assaulted anyone has been out of the NFL basically permanently because he took a knee.
Mm.
And you got this guy who wants a happy ending with every massage.
And he still says, I did nothing wrong.
Yeah. He's like, I paid them extra. No, that's not how it works.
Apology is the definition of, I'm sorry that they felt that way, but I still did nothing wrong.
No, it's not that he did anything wrong. I'm Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
I'm famous. I'm the man. I do what I want, and people should understand that.
Well, you also know, I mean, the reality is if 24 people came forward with allegations, you know there were more than that. Like, that's just plain statistics.
Yeah.
Where whatever you have, that's only a fraction of what really happened. Yeah.
Speaking of the wonderful Activision CEO Bobby Kotick, he has also gone back on record and said he still has no idea what anyone's talking about when it comes to the sexual misconducts that are happening within his own company. Great, awesome.
One thing I do really hope. So I don't know if you saw at the preseason game with the Browns, is the fans were all chanting "You sick fuck."
I love it.
And that was like at a preseason game with like a random team who really doesn't care about the Browns. So I'm really hoping some of the games, like against, like for instance, like the Steelers, who really hate the Browns.
Yeah, well, and also with Big Ben now being retired.
Well, Big Ben wasn't exactly a saint himself.
No, that's what I'm saying. If they were screaming sick fuck while with Big Ben on the sideline, you're like, kettle black, my friend, kettle black.
That's fair. Yeah, so I hope he gets the treatment of because I guess kind of the analogy I would kind of make in a way was obviously the other big hope profile you had a couple years ago was Mike Vick, who went to jail for dogfighting. I would say the difference, in my opinion, would be is Mike Vick also, in the end, he admitted full culpability,
and he also went to jail.
Well, he went to jail, and he also showed remorse.
Yeah, I know.
It was very obvious, like, wow, I really screwed up, and what I did was wrong. And he's become a activist in terms of like basically I screwed up. And he admitted that he did wrong, stupid, dumb things, which everybody knows he did. But he also showed remorse in recidivism. The opposite of recidivism, actually, is he, paid his due for that. Whereas Watson still shows zero remorse for what he actually did.
I do want to point out, just in case you were wondering, in the state of Georgia, a single sexual assault case, if you're found guilty in the court, includes a prison term between 1 to 20 years. So, 24, and it's an 11-game fine or 11-game suspension of $5 million fine.
Yep. It's the good old story of, you have the money and resources to get your way out of situations that the rest of us would not be able to get out of. Look at what happened with Ray Rice. Remember with Ray Rice, and we're talking 7-8 years ago, I'm guessing off the top of my head, where the allegations of him pushing his girlfriend.
Punching
or pushing.
Cold caught her in the face.
Yeah, but remember though, that was the allegation though. Initially, he was like, I remember the exact details, but he was suspended for like a game or two. It wasn't until the video actually came out that he was then blackballed from the league. And so that's the kind of case here where unless there's actual...
He was suspended for 2 games.
2 games, unless there's that visceral evidence that we can see, it's just swept under the rug is really what it comes down to.
Okay. Let's slightly change the topic here. Let's talk about the fact that a classic game from the NFL, about the NFL is coming back. Thanks to Arcade 1-Up.
Mutant NFL?
No, NFL Blitz.
Ooh, that was a fun game.
That was so much fun. However, okay, part of, for those out there who may not have ever played NFL Blitz, it was basically this over-the-top version of football where you're trying to just absolutely massacre the other team. But I guess in order for the NFL to sign off on a new NFL Blitz, this game has to follow the new NFL guidelines and rules.
What?
Yeah.
Which are?
So basically, they had to clean up the game for modern sensibilities.
Does that mean you can't like go around just like randomly tackling people?
You can no longer do what do you call it? Late hits.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm actually pissed off.
I mean, I'm going to be totally honest with you. When I played NFL Blitz, what did I do? I took my heaviest dude, I ran around the offensive line, waited for the quarterback to hike the ball, and I beat the crap out of him.
I mean, that was the fun part of that game is because you usually, it was a great hot seat game with your friends, and you talk shit to them, and after the play, you go around tackling each other because that was like the fun of the game. It was obviously a far-fetched caricature of the game itself. It's kind of like, if you think about like NBA Jam, right? Half the fun of NBA Jam is pushing the other players.
Yeah, shoving them out of the way.
Yeah, that's like what you do. Obviously, in a real NBA game, you're not doing that. But same thing in NFL. At least, obviously, nowadays, you're not doing late hits where you're going around taking each other's heads off. Like, to me, like, this completely misses the mark of, obviously, this is aimed at all of the CTE issues of the NFL that are legitimate. But in my mind, like, this completely misses the mark of that being an issue in the first place. Like, this was a fun outlet of video games where it was obviously not a realistic game. Like, in a way, it'd be a little bit different if it was like Madden, right?
Yeah.
Madden is made out to be a realistic NFL game, which is the reason I never enjoyed it. I didn't like the realism. But, like, if you tackled somebody after the game, it would be a late hit penalty, which it should be because it was a realistic game.
Right. It's not an arcadey.
Yeah. Whereas NFL Blitz is obviously an arcadey fake game where you're supposed to go around mauling each other. So, like, yeah, that just pisses me off. Like, it's misplaced. It's a misplaced notion of acknowledging the issues of CTE in the NFL without actually doing anything.
Right.
Oh, that just pisses me off. Now I want to go drink more.
Oh, Zealeus. Sup, Nakamoto? Yeah, it would be like, I mean, it's kind of like finding your most bloody, beat 'em up game and then removing the blood. And,
you mean like taking out the fatalities out of Mortal Kombat because in UFC you can't actually kill each other in the arena? Therefore, we have to take out the fatalities to...
Yeah, no fatality. Well, wasn't that the original deal to get it onto like Nintendo Game Boy or the Nintendo systems, was that they had to have at least the ability to toggle off the blood? Or
yeah, no. So if you remember, the original versions did not have blood, but there was a kind of like up, down, left, right.
Like the Konami code.
Yeah, there was the equivalent of the Konami code they could do to enable blood for Mortal Kombat. I do remember that being a thing. Yeah, so I think fatalities were always a thing. They just weren't bloody unless you turned them on.
What was it? Oh my gosh, I cannot type. God, I miss being able to do like, the Konami code, or for Mega Man 3 on the Nintendo, if you held down, I think it was left on the second controller while you played, and you jumped into a hole, you basically were invincible the rest of the game, or the rest of the level.
Or who doesn't miss Game Genie or Game
Shark?
Yeah, that you can basically hack the game with.
Yes. Now, we're not, ladies and gentlemen. I want to go on record and say we are not talking about the hot coffee incident in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Okay, that was a different type of hack hidden thing. Zealeus, you're looking at like you don't understand what the hot coffee thing was.
I'm having a mind blank.
It was the sex game that was hidden in the code. If you had the PC version, and you could like rewrite one of the setting files, and it would enable it. And so when the magic words, would you want to come up for some coffee? You would then be introduced to a sex game where you would have to do button combos.
In order to win the sex, you had to have the right button combos.
In order to do the sex well,
I mean, I guess it's kind of
like get the bonuses.
It's like using your fingers correctly in real life.
Touche, sir. Touche. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to pause for just a second because there are some amazing individuals out there who help Alter Confusion be the Alter Confusion that it is today. So without further ado, let's do some friends of the show. First off, let's go with the Indy Cluster. The Indy Cluster is an organization of independent game developers that want to gain exposure by being involved in the community. They collectively journey to popular conferences as a traveling booth to help gain attention for their games. They make partnerships in local communities to bring games to the mainstream mindset. They highlight local, unusual, and rare concepts to challenge the paradigm of the common. They also host events to teach kids and minority groups about game development to hopefully one day enter the industry themselves. For more information, go to indycluster.com. That's INDIECLUSTER.com. The next shout out we have to do is to the highly successful, amazing individual known as Noodle Boy and his company, Noodle Boy Media. Founded in 2015 by Andrew Tran, Noodle Boy Media, previously White Kid 47 Media, is your choice for professional photo shoots and panel recordings at conventions. They pride themselves in providing a high level of professionalism, top-notch experiences, and quality services. If you want more information and to view their full list of services, check out facebook.com/noodleboymedia. The next one is for all those locals in the... Oh, and Zealeus is left. That's okay. The next one is for all those local in the Georgia, or I guess the Atlanta area, and that, of course, is Hero Chiropractic. Hero Chiropractic is a unique healthcare practice set up by Ryan Moore, the company's focus to elevate a patient's experience of freedom, creative expression, and joy. They believe that everyone can be a hero and has incredible heroic potential inside themselves waiting to be unleashed. Hero Chiropractic focuses on mobile chiropractic care in the greater Atlanta area. They are committed to healing clients by creating a plan of action uniquely suited for each person. They make that plan of action as convenient and affordable as possible, and most importantly, suited to your individual needs. For more information, go to herochiropractic.com. The next shout out we have to give is to the amazing individual who created both our intro and outro. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Crosspad Creative. Need a logo or want to work on a full branding and content strategy? Or maybe you need music or audio for your content. Crosspad Creative offers a whole host of solutions for individuals and small businesses. Just email Josh at crosspadcreative@gmail.com and see what he can do for you. And the final shout out goes to Agile Axiom. By Day Axe leads both a development team and system administration team working with satellites at NASA's Goddard campus. But while not in meeting, and many times during, he is the Agile evangelist, Agile Axe, championing the philosophy of Agile and trying to make the world a better place for software developers, testers, system admins, and software projects the world over. Decades of experience in software development and leading Agile teams are brought to bear against evil processes, ineffective work, and bad habits. For more information, go to agileaxiom.com. That's AGILEAXIOM.com. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to pause just real quick, just for the viewers who might be tuning in for the very first time, we do have an audio and video version of this after the show and all of our previous episodes. If for the podcast, you can go to basically any of your podcast places. You can go to Podbean. You could go to the iTunes podcast store. You can go to the Google equivalent. You can go to Pandora. You can go to Spotify. And of course, we post all of our videos on YouTube. Now, since we gave the friends of the show shout out, we also have to do some personal shout outs. And the first one, of course, the one that is closest and dearest to us, as always, ladies and gentlemen, Ultra Confusion is proud to say that we have been fundraising for Extra Life for 11 straight years. Extra Life is gamers doing what they do best, game, to help sick and injured children at their chosen Children's Miracle Network Hospital. The money that we raise through Extra Life will go directly to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta as unrestricted funds. This means that the hospital decides where and how to spend the money to ensure the dollars we raise make the biggest impact in the lives of the kids they treat. So if you have the capacity to donate, please go to extra-life.org and search for Ultra Confusion. And speaking of Extra Life, thank you to the anonymous donor who donated $80 today because it was in the month of August. Ultra Confusion now has a cool, I think it's like a dice rolling container.
Ooh,
so thank
nice.
you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are curious as to how to become a friend of the show or you want to support Ultra Confusion, we're happy to tell you that we have a Patreon. Patreon lets you, the fans, lovers, haters, demigods, interdimensional beings, gods, demons, aliens, supporters, and more to become active participants in the work we love through monthly membership. This gives you access to exclusive content, a community, and insight into our creative process. In exchange, we gain a bit more freedom to do our best work and the stability we need to build an even stronger creative career. We currently have two tiers. We have the $1 tier, which is $1 a month or $12 a year. And what that will get you is early access to all of the playthroughs, as well as the ability to partake in patron-only posts and polls. If you want to pump it up to the $5 a month or $60 a year tier, not only do you get everything at the $1 tier, but you also gain your name or organization in every single thank you section of the Thursday night hangout. So if you are interested in becoming a patron of Ultra Confusion, go to patreon.com/Ultra Confusion. Patreon is spelled patreon.com/Ultra Confusion. Ultra Confusion is all one word.
Just one word?
Huh?
Just one word, that's all?
Just one word. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that not everyone wants to give us financial support, but perhaps you want to give something to Ultra Confusion for us to showcase on our show. Many people have done it in the past, and I highly recommend that you do it as well if you have something that you would like for us to showcase. In order for us to showcase something, you need to mail it to us. And in order to mail it to us, you need to know our mailing address. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what the mailing address is. Our mailing address is 1551 Dunwoody, that's Dunwoody, Village Parkway. This next part is super duper 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 important. Number 88276. That 88276 is the actual P.O. Box number. If you do not put it there, it will not get to us, and it will be returned to you within 3 to 5 business days. The city, once again, is Dunwoody. That's Dunwoody. State is Georgia. Zip code is 30338. All right, now let's jump back into the stories. Oh, my goodness gracious. Let's jump right back into the stories. And the story that I want to talk about is this amazing individual who is utilizing Tinder to help sell the game. I think it's called Nier Automata. And what she's doing is she basically starts chit-chatting all these guys up. She apparently has done, at last count, 22 guys successfully. She's gotten 22 guys to buy this game. She's talked it up. Be like, oh my God, it's an amazing game. You should play it. I love it. And then they buy it. the game, and then she ghosts him. She doesn't talk to him anymore. And she hopes that they enjoy the game in the end.
Wait, is this like the Nier Automata, or is this like a random version?
No, it's the version.
So that's like her thing, is she tries to get people to play what's already a great game.
Yeah, they're like, have you ever played the game? No. You know, it's one of my favorites. Oh my gosh, I love talking about it. Then I should get it. Yeah, you probably should. Sweet, I got it. Crickets.
That's really bizarre. Or no, she gives like an affiliate code or something, like an Amazon affiliate code to purchase it with, and she can make some money.
See, I don't know. Like, as if you were the developer, would you want to associate with that or not?
I mean, it's ingenuity and it's good entrepreneurship if it actually got her something out of it, I guess.
That would make her want to do more, I guess.
I guess. I've not heard that. I've never come across that. I guess I've not encountered this person on, Tinder and whatnot, because I've definitely never had a lady try to sell me on playing a video game.
It's brilliant, to be honest with you.
I mean, I don't know
there's worse things that someone could get you to buy and then ghost you, I guess.
Such as?
You buy into one of those like pyramid scheme stuff, or those basically all those tchotchkes at the kiosks in the mall.
Yeah, I know.
That your girlfriend will love.
Yes.
I will fully admit, I got caught on one of those many, many years ago.
I did have a Cutco lady come over once as a favor to a friend. Yep, never doing that again.
My mom still has all her Cutco knives.
Nice.
One of a longtime friend was a Cutco sales rep. So, yeah.
No, like hard pressure sales just make me like want to say no even more.
It's spooky. It's scary.
I mean, they get very into their knives. I mean, they take it very seriously.
Yes, it's like the next coming of, I don't want to say Jesus, but basically
it's some people have, Jesus guns babies. Some people have Jesus Cutco knives babies.
Well, it's more like Jesus. Yeah, I guess. Anyways, no, it's impressive. At least 22, at least 22 guys she suckered into doing that and then ghosted them all. That's
where did they get this number from?
Part.
Like, did she self-report this, or was this like a guy's like support group?
No, she went on Twitter and basically said, "Hey guys, I can't stay silent on this anymore. I got to tell you this awesome thing I've been doing." Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do have an update on a story that we did a couple weeks ago, and that was the fact that the remake for KOTOR was indefinitely delayed because they lost the developer. Now, more information has come out about that, and apparently the developer, when they showcased a demo to Lucasfilm and Sony, that demo was received extremely poorly. And so they, of course, are no longer, and unfortunately, this was supposed to be released this year. Now, that being said, there's an update to the story. There is now a new developer attached to this remake. And they do have some, it's not a random game out there. I mean, it's not a random studio that hasn't done anything. The name of the studio that is now attached to it is called Saber Interactive. Saber Interactive's most recent release was Evil Dead the Game, which, I mean, at least they got something out. I've heard that it's had mixed reviews. I haven't actually played the game. But with this studio being put on the project, they're now kind of aiming for, I believe, the 2020 was it 2025 window.
Good Lord.
Well, I mean, they basically have to scrap a lot of the stuff. If it was received so poorly with LucasArts and Sony, once again, I swear to God, if they touch the damn game mechanics, I'm going to punch someone.
Well, that's unfortunate. This is why we can't have nice things. All I want are my good remakes.
Good remakes.
I just want to play the same games over and over for the next 10 to 20 years. And it's just better and better graphics every 20 years. Is that too much to ask?
Look, okay. I'm usually scared of remakes in general. However, having played Final Fantasy VII Remake, which was phenomenal because not only, I mean, they didn't just like remake the entire game. They're doing it in 3 sections. It's going to be a trilogy. They really like, not only did they update the graphics, but they also really fleshed out the story and added a bunch of stuff, which was amazing. And then, of course, I'm still waiting for the Alan Wake remake, and the Dead Space remake. Damn it, I'm waiting for a lot of remakes. With Dead Space, leave the fucking lights off. That's all I have to say. Leave them off.
In your house, too.
Huh?
In your house.
Well, yes. If I'm playing a spooky, scary game, all the lights are out. If you've ever seen me stream a spooky game, all the lights are out. I want the full scary experience.
Have you ever actually played a spooky / horror game?
There's a game on that was on the Xbox called Condemned: Criminal Origins. That game scared me so bad. I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment in Orlando back then. I turned on every single fucking light when I went into a room because I was afraid someone was going to bust out of the wall with like a piece of rebar and concrete on the end and bash my head in. That's how scared I got.
That would have been a great night for an actual like criminal to try to break into your house.
I don't know how I'd handle that.
Like, I don't know. Is this person real or fake? I can't figure it out.
I'm going to have to kill you. I'm sorry. Sucks to be you. No, but I'm excited for the Dead Space remake as long as they keep the lights off. The Alan Wake. Actually, no, it's not an Alan Wake remake. I think it's the next Alan Wake. I think, right? Yeah, it's a sequel, which apparently their script is about I don't know, 7 phone books thick now, so it may never come out. But
sounds like too much reading for me.
Yes. Well, thankfully, it's all spoken.
I can listen well.
Yes, same here. All right, so Zealeus, you said that you've been trying to decide if you want to Netflix it or you want to game it. So what gaming are you doing?
I've got really back into Guild Wars 2 for some reason. Well, let me rephrase that. I've beat the first third of Mass Effect 1.
Yep.
So now I'm taking a break from that for a bit.
You wait, but don't you want more Mako in your life?
I'm sorry. I just had to stop. Like, okay, I'm done with the Mako for now. I can't do any more of this. I can only take so many planets of running around. The only thing that actually gets me through Mass Effect and the Mako is every planet I'm on, I have to pull up the map to know where the resources are.
Yeah.
Because there's no way in bloody hell am I just randomly driving around a planet to figure out where am I supposed to go. So I definitely have my 2 monitors where like one screen is my maps, so I know exactly where I'm going with the Mako. Yeah, it's still terrible, but honestly, it's maybe not as bad as I remember. Maybe it's, keyboard and mouse master race versus the controller. It's still terrible, but yes, life goes on. But yeah, I got heavily into Guild Wars 2. I don't know why, but something about Guild Wars 2 has hooked me again. So I've been playing a lot of that lately. The combat just feels right. There's something about the way that ArenaNet did the kind of action combat with Guild Wars and the swapping of weapons and just the way the action skills work. I also like the way they do the questing zones to me just clicks in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Because you basically have like the hearts, you got the little points of interest, you have the vistas, and it's such an easy and straightforward way of kind of being a completionist without being like absurd completionist. Like a good example, like take Final Fantasy 14, where inside of each zone, there's so many like inane and pointless quests, like the very definition of like fetch and retrieve or go kill 10 hogs, right?
Yep.
Stuff I just don't care about, so I'm not going to complete all that. Whereas it feels like being a completionist in the zone that you're questing in with Guild Wars 2 just kind of makes a logical progression of flow for the way I play video games. So for me, it's like a perfect kind of treadmill as far as that MMO style goes.
Right.
And I just like the combat. The combat just feels good to me. Let's say another MMO I tried out. I mean, this is over a year ago, was Blessed Unleash.
Is that still up?
It's still technically up, yes.
Technically
up, yes. And the combats are somewhat alike in that they're kind of action style. And there was always like the actual sequence of combos and stuff in Blessed always felt good to me, actually, but there's still something about the combat that felt off to me. And I never could quite put my finger on it until I was watching a video actually earlier today of Blessed Unleashed. I realized what it was. It's like when I play video games, I play them, especially against like unknown mobs to feel powerful, right? Where I just want to smash faces. And in Guild Wars 2, you pretty much smash faces with unnamed mobs. I mean, you see some veteran mobs or like, you know, the bosses, obviously those are harder. That's the way it's meant to be. But like 90% of the mobs you're facing, you just click a few buttons and they're dead. That's what I want. Whereas I realized with Blessed Unleash, like you're kind of, they become bullet sponges. If you ever played like FPS, like first person shooters, where you just have to like shoot the same mob over and over and it gets pointless. That's how I ended up feeling in Blessed Unleash, where like a lot of the enemies were kind of that bullet sponge of combos. So it just kind of lost that feeling of how I wanted to feel in my MMOs. I basically feel like I could smash your face in easily. Just did not have that same feeling with the enemy mobs in Blessed. And plus, it was a dead game. As far as the population, that didn't help.
So speaking of population, just to give you a heads up, in August of 2021, the population, the average number of players that were concurrently online was 40,000 players.
For which game?
For Blessed Unleash.
So apparently so I didn't know this. So apparently there's also Blessed Online, which I guess is for the mobile, but
the mobile has been canned. They've stopped it.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Yep.
So they can't, but there's a new AAA version apparently being released or developed for Blessed that's going to be released on all basically devices simultaneously. It's the first in AAA, but it gets better. Apparently, they're going to have top of the like easy to access blockchain, and NFTs readily available for the players to get in this new Blessed game.
By the way,
hell no,
this game is still active, sort of, and currently there are 442 people playing.
Blessed?
Yeah.
Wow. I wonder what it is for Guild Wars, actually. Well, so Guild Wars 2 is tricky, though, because it's from ArenaNet. It's their own launcher, but they're also, for their 10-year anniversary, they're releasing a Steam client.
Really?
Yep. So it will now. The trick is, though, in most MMOs are this way, where if you have like a Guild Wars 2 ArenaNet launcher or character account, whatever you want to call it, that's not cross-compatible with the Steam launcher. So like I can't take my character from ArenaNet and bring that over to the Steam version and log in with the same account, basically.
Okay, so as of this past month, July, on a daily basis, 636,000 players log into Guild Wars 2 a day.
That sounds actually pretty damn healthy to me.
Yeah.
And now it'll only go up with Steam, you would think.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, Final Fantasy 14 is the same exact way, where I can't, like, if I wanted to play it on Steam, I'd have to purchase all the content all over again. And it's obviously because, like in this case, Square Enix and Arena, if they're using their own launcher,
Yep.
they get 100% of that sweet income. Whereas if we do it with their Steam takes 30% off the top. So I get why they do it, because they want 100% of their cut, but it'd still be nice. But you still have cross-platform play, meaning like if you're a Steam player and a PC player, you'll still be on the same servers and all that shit. So it's not like they're dividing the base. It's actually been a topic of conversation, like Final Fantasy 14, because they just did Endwalker. And so it's like Yoshi, he's the lead developer who basically saved Final Fantasy 14 and quite possibly Square Enix. Will he do another MMO?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like you look at the longevity of World of Warcraft, for instance. And then you look at what a clusterfuck that RuneScape 2, I don't even know what they actually called it was, where now they have like 2 tracks of RuneScape.
Yeah, they've got the original and 2.
So it's almost like, the big MMOs have kind of figured out, like, instead of, releasing, let's just say, World of Warcraft 2 or Final Fantasy 14 Part 2, whatever we're going to call it, it's easier. I don't know if easier is the right word. More profitable, maybe is a better term, to just continue to iterate and improve on the current MMO because you already have such a strong user base where you're taking a massive chance by trying to release a second version of that MMO.
I.e. Evercrack.
Yeah. No, some work, like obviously Guild Wars 2.
What is the actual name of it?
EverQuest.
EverQuest, thank you. I was like, I know I've called it Evercrack forever. So what the hell was the real name?
So for those who don't, when Mr. Charlie and I were in college, we started in 2001. EverCrack was like at its height of cocaine addiction,
where people were making thousands of dollars on eBay because they were selling digital weapons via eBay for real money.
But the other thing you saw was, I don't know about you, Mr. Charlie, but I remember, like, in the dorms, people would literally not leave their dorms for days on end, literally playing EverQuest the entire time. It was no exaggeration.
No.
Where they just, and that's where EverCrack got its nickname from, because it was one of the first to really perfect that carrot approach, where you want that very next big shiny, and it perfected that at the time. And I remember people dropping out of college. Hell, they didn't drop out of college; just failed college because they didn't go to class because of EverQuest. That was definitely big. I remember I had a final. I bought a video game, Dungeon Siege. And I gave the disc, because at the time it wasn't downloadable. You actually had physical disc in 2002. I actually gave it to a friend of mine. I was like, hey, you cannot give me these discs until after my finals, because I know if I have this disc, I will just play this stupid video game and not study for my finals. I still don't think I should study for my finals, but it seemed like a good idea at the time.
I did. Wait.
But yeah, I'm enjoying Guild Wars too.
Study for finals? What?
Yeah. Did you ever play Guild Wars 2?
Huh?
Did you ever play Guild Wars 2?
Yeah. I played 1 and 2. I played when the closed beta was out, and it was like a weekend special. Dude, I played the entire time.
Nice.
Like, I had my buddies were sleeping on my futon when they passed out from exhaustion, so they could get a couple hours and jump back on.
I mean, it's free to play.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my current addiction is once again Legends of Runeterra.
Oh, you got back into Legends of Runeterra?
So I kind of did. I haven't done the PvP stuff yet. What I've been doing is they've got like this adventure mode where you get a character. They basically give you a starting deck, which is a very small amount of cards, and then as you progress through, it's kind of like a tower climb. where you have a certain number of enemies you're going to go to, but then after each enemy, there's a potential for a branch, and that branch is going to be random. Sometimes it's a marketplace, sometimes it's a special ability, something like that. And as you progress, the enemies also get like special abilities and stuff. So you really got to,
It's interesting. It sounds almost like like you've played those mobile games where it's like you're building your deck. It's not a traditional deck building game.
No, it's
still deck building in the sense that you get cards that you then add to your deck.
It's kind of like if you've ever played Slay the Spire, it's exactly like that.
Okay, yeah. So it's a deck building in a way.
Yeah, no, you're definitely building your deck as you go along, and then of course you get like 3 cards to choose from after you successfully defeat an enemy, and those are random. That's if you level up enough, you can get
Is that on the mobile version too?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
The same. It's the same. It's the exact same game on mobile and on the PC. Believe me, I've done both. I have done. My addiction level has gotten back to the level of I will be playing on the PC, have to take a crap, and then switch over to my phone so I can keep going.
You know what you need? You need a Steam Deck.
No. Jesus, no. First of all, Riot Games, I don't think has anything on Steam. No, that's not true.
Well, you can install Windows on it. That is true. I forgot about that. Yeah.
No, I'm good. All right. Well,
you know what I really want is I want the Riot MMO.
Which one? The upcoming one?
Yeah. Well, by upcoming, I'm thinking like 2028. But we'll see.
Yeah. I just want the second season of Arcane.
Well,
Can we do that?
And so I did watch a video. Have you heard of a game called Ashes of Creation?
No.
So it's like the new big. So you know, there's always like an MMO killer, right? Like WoW killer. I guess now it's kind of Final Fantasy 14 killer, but there's always like the next big MMO, whatever, right?
I thought it was the tower thing. I thought that was the next big thing. The thing that's from like the Genshin Impact people.
Oh, could be. The one I know about is Ashes of Creation. Because the big thing is it's like basically it has everything in an MMO.
It's a fighting game and a shooter and a role-playing game. All wrapped into one.
Yeah. It always kind of scares me though when like newer MMOs try to do everything because it ends up not doing anything well.
Well, that's the fear of like any media out there. If you have like, some author decides to marry horror with romance and erotica with an alternative history twist, and they don't get one of it right, or hell, a lot of games that try to do music and rhythm with like an RPG element usually get one or the other totally wrong.
Yeah.
I apologize. If anyone's wondering why I keep putting my hand in my mouth, it's because my crown is loose again.
No shit.
Yeah. And I don't want to go in for a 4th time, so I'm just going to keep pushing it back to where it needs to be.
I don't think that's going to work, yeah.
Well, it's not like it's just wiggling. It's not actually falling out. It's like I'm a child again. I'm going to lose my tooth. I'm going to put it under my pillow for the tooth fairy.
And you know what happens to that child's tooth if you keep wiggling it?
It falls out. I could just feel the suction pop back on. So,
dude, the crown's going to fall out. I'm sorry.
I'll get it fixed. Don't worry. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've reached the end of the show.
Wait, what if I brought over some super glue?
No, I don't think that would be very bad. I'm pretty sure that's toxic.
We could glue it to your gum because the gum is not coming out.
No, what the hell? No. Zealeus, no. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everyone for tuning into the Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. For myself, Charlie, and Zealeus, it's been a pleasure giving everything come to our heads, our mouths, and of course, our hearts. We'll be back next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
Remember, kids, keep on gaming in the free world.
Amen to that, brother.